Hi guys! Well, today we are going to do Draw My Life, and we're going to draw everything that happened in our life. So, let's get it started.
You are my brother, you are my sister, made by the same God, loved by the same heart. We've got to live love, we've got to give love. Oh, that's how the world will know us.
We're in this together.
I was born on May 15, 1952 in New York. I was the second son out of 5 children, and we were all boys. We lived in an apartment in Queens, Ridgewood, Queens, that was on top of a candy store. So I ate quite a bit of candy through my childhood. My dad was an interesting man with a sense of humor. My mom was a very pretty woman who cared for us. My family went to church every Sunday because we were Catholics. Spent our summers in my grandmother's house in Glasgow, upstate New York. When I was 9, my mom and dad got a divorce. That was a particularly hard time for me. But I joined a CYO basketball team, and I soon became the star player. Basketball became my passion. After 3 years of a bunch of basketball games, I was probably the best basketball player in Queens. I was also a guy who stuck up for myself in school. I was also considered a class clown of sorts. When I was 18, I went to college, and my brother Jay owned a wine and cheese cafe and got me a job as a bartender. My brother Kippy got a girlfriend named Maggie. Kippy and Maggie came to the wine and cheese cafe and brought Maggie's friend along, Helene, who was eventually to become my wife.
Helene's life.
In 1953, I was born. I was born and raised in Queens, New York. I had 3 sisters and great parents. My dad was a World War II veteran and was very strong and protective. My mom was a housewife who helped me through a lot in my life. She was smart and sweet. My sisters were around 15 years older than me, so they were in and out of the house more when I was a kid. They were energetic and fun. I had a great childhood. I lived on a nice street and made friends with all my neighbors. My family and I are Catholic, so we prayed every day and went to church every Sunday. When I was in high school, I had a BFF named Maggie. We were friends from high school to college. Then she got a boyfriend named Kippy. They always had their dates at a wine and cheese cafe, and one day she brought me along. When I came, I met Kippy's brother, John.
I was doing my usual job as a bartender serving drinks, and I started talking to a girl named Helene. We enjoyed talking to each other and exchanged phone numbers. We became regular friends and then eventually better friends. We knew each other for 6 months and started dating. 6 weeks later, I realized how nice a person she was. She was the nicest person I've ever met. I also thought she would be a great mother to my children. So then I asked her for her hand in marriage, and lucky for me, she accepted.
So we eloped on February 8th, 1977. We bought a house in a multi-family complex in Queens, New York. We had a daughter named Jennifer on January 8, 1978. We had a great time raising her. She was smart, honest, and fun. When she was 23, she met a guy named Anthony. They got married and rented an apartment. Soon, Jennifer was pregnant with a baby. 3 months into her pregnancy, Anthony decided to divorce her and move on with his life. Since Jennifer knew she was having a baby, she got a job as a coin dealer that was 50 hours a week. She knew that the baby would have a lonely life, so she moved back in with us. So then, we found out that the baby was a girl. A few months later, Jennifer had the baby, and we named her Julie.
On to my life!
I was born in Long Island, New York on July 1st, 2003. I was a pretty healthy baby, but I was born with one birth defect. My GERD didn't work as well as it should be. That meant my stomach would react to foods more than normal. I had to go to the hospital a lot as a baby, and I had stomach aches almost every day until I was around 2. When I was 3, my stomach aches stopped, and I could eat whatever I want. But my 3 parents wouldn't let me eat fruits, big doses of dessert, or any cereal but Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I was only allowed to eat those foods occasionally.
Let's get back to when I was a baby. Life in Queens started to lose its charm. Crime increased, it got congested. My parents did not want me to live in that horrible environment. So when I was 1, my parents moved from Queens to Long Island. Real estate in Long Island was really expensive, so my grandma had to get a job at Catholic Charities. Soon, we bought an 1,800 square foot home in a nice suburban neighborhood with lots of trees and nice people. Long Island was a great place to grow up in. I got baptized as a Catholic, played with my neighbors a lot, and had a happy young childhood. My parents put me in nursery a year late because they were still worried about my stomach. When I was in 1st grade, I started going to Catholic school. I made friends there. Some stayed, some went away, and some I gained after 1st grade. I did dance classes 3 days a week. I was in the drama club, and I was in the school choir. I also played the stepsister in my school's play, Cinderella. I never lived close to my relatives. My aunts moved upstate. My great-grandma lives in Florida. My uncle lives in California. The only relative I live close to is my Aunt Helene, and she lives 20 miles away. My mom leads an independent life. When we go out, my mom stays home and works so I could go to Catholic school. Overall, I had a great childhood. In November 2015, my family and I started a YouTube channel called Our Family of 3. My mom chose the name. She was camera shy, so she didn't want to be on YouTube. But in 6th grade, everything changed. Some people in school started to judge me because I was so happy, girly, right-winged, and I always did the right thing. I lost some friends who I was very close to. Soon, I only had a couple friends left. The choir and the drama club shut down. My parents didn't like the dance club I was going to, so they made me skip dance for a year. Life was hard. Vlogging helped me a lot. It made me feel happy, and it became my new hobby. I also ran track and enjoyed it, and I got a bunch of medals. That became another hobby. Things in school are getting a lot better now. I made new friends and stayed friends with the friends who helped me through 6th grade. The rest of our future is yet to come, but we will vlog about it for many years to come. Good night. Thanks for watching.